Well, let's see how. And now, what did I say? When I do it by hand, what do I normally focus on first? You don't have to do that, but I do that with the dot paper, I focus on height. I just figured let's do the biggest ones first, because then I don't have to go back with my angle very far. And so if I'm going to do it, I'm probably going to go 12 by 8. There you go, 12 feet, 8 feet, and then 3 feet wide. Okay. So once again, as I go, probably help me fill it in, maybe somebody other than the person that's been getting it wrong the whole time. Hey, all right, first one you got right. Yeah, that's the hard one. I chose to skip that one there, so. All right, now the only reason I did that is now we can see it. Again, do I need those hidden lines in there to see all the faces? No, we pretty much know what's happening here because we started this problem. So let's go ahead and let's just worry about, let's face the front here is the biggest face, and what I want you to do is draw these out. Now the reason I'm having you do this is a strategy that's going to work this entire chapter until maybe we get to maybe cones and cylinders. It gets a little bit harder. But this strategy will work. I'm going to give you formulas as we go. That'll speed up the process. But if you don't like the formulas, you can always refer back to this one. So how about this particular face right here? How big is this one that we just drew? $96 square feet, of course. Yeah. Well, the nice thing is I can draw the picture however I want when I do it freehand. That's the beauty. That's why it's so nice. All right. Now, why am I doing this anyways? Oh, that's right. We got to find out how much fabric we need to cover this thing. All right. So how about this one on the right? What are the dimensions of that rectangle? 12 by 3, you say? And so what's the area of that? 36 what? No, feet squared, because it's feet times feet. And we are left with basically the top. And the dimensions of that? 3 by 8. Once again, feet and feet. And 3 by 8 ends up being 24 square feet. So really, when it's asking me for how much fabric would cover this entire box, is that asking for lateral area or surface area? It's asking for surface area. They want me to cover the whole thing. And so if I take 96 square feet, 36 square feet, and 24 square feet and add them together, would that cover this box? How much of the box would that cover? Exactly half. So your two choices here are you double all of those numbers first and then add them together, or add them together and then double. Either way works. And that will tell you the entire box. So why don't you go ahead and figure out that number for me? Yep, 312. Now, what's the label? Does adding it together or multiplying by 2 change the label as we go along? No, it does not. Once again, try and take that thought process with you to algebra. All right? It should help you out. Now, what you're going to find this entire chapter is that I'm going to try and give you visualizations for this. Because one of the biggest complaints I'm getting from the people that I talk to is that it seems like students coming out of school have no perception of size. None. For example, somebody told me that that would cover the football field last hour. That's a slight issue with perception of size. Now let's just get an idea of the box. 12 feet high. A reference for you, a basketball hoop is 10 feet high. Okay. 8 feet long and 3 feet wide. Okay. 3 feet wide, approximately the door for width. Okay. 8 feet long. I'd say the ceiling's probably approximately 8 feet. Okay. So those are some dimensions for you. Another way I could help you with that is if I were to cover this floor with the fabric, I kind of have always considered this room to be about 30 feet by 20 feet, give or take. And so it would be 600 square feet to cover the floor. Completely cover the floor. So that would cover about half the floor, that fabric, if I just laid it out. Okay. So football field, this floor, slightly different. So do you see what the people are saying and why they're complaining? There's a problem there. Okay. So I'm going to do that this entire chapter to try and give you some perception of size. And the biggest mistake that I ever saw was the person I think I told you about. They were to make an enclosure that was 30,000 cubic something. I gave them that option of what their units would be. They said miles. 30,000 cubic miles. When we get to that section, I'll explain how much that would actually cover. I told that person that they could make a dome a mile high, and I told them how much they could cover with that, because they were going to enclose their entire area. Yeah, so I'll explain that to you as we get further along. But 30,000 cubic miles is a lot. All right, and so that's where we're going with this. Are there any questions on what we've covered?